Today's session, we have to discuss about the cron jobs, cluster major version upgrade, and the concept of scheduler. If a scheduler is not running, what will happen and how you can do a manual decision based on some worker nodes. So yesterday we did our uh, topic. If I go to this uh, session, so it was 12th video, and we cover cluster certificates, updates, and TLS certificates, and etcd database backup and restoration process. Okay, so today we have to look the cron job. What is the purpose of cron job? In Linux, cron jobs are used to schedule any task. Just like if you want to take a backup of some database. So you will write some script to take the backup, and then you will schedule it and it will run automatically every day. And you can also perform some schedule health check of the system by cron job. You can perform some uh, you can send some email automatically by some script about the status of some system, or you can get some specific value from the database and then you can send to as an email. So there are a lot of uh, use cases about cron jobs. So the same use cases that you learn in your Linux administration are implementable in your Kubernetes cluster. Same things you need to schedule in your cluster to perform different activity. So one thing is different in Kubernetes in sense of as compared to your Linux administration. In Linux, you will write some script and that will perform your task. But in Kubernetes, it's based on microservice. So everything is running inside the container. So your task will also run inside the container. So you have to make some image that contain the task you want to run. That should contain the binary that will perform some activity that you want to perform. So I will give you a practical example here. But first of all, I will give you the idea cron job, how the cron job repeating schedule, a cron job made for the performance of regular scheduling actions such as backup, report generation, and so on. One cron job object is like one line of a cron table file for the Unix system. It run a job periodically on a given schedule written in a cron format. So meaning the Kubernetes, a special container will run, will perform that task, and that container will stop. Okay. So uh, uh, if I show you the manifest of cron job, so kind is cron job. If I go to my cluster and kubectl API resources. So cron job is the API resource. CJ is a short form, and this is the beta slash V1 is the API variant. So this is a kind, and this is the name of this cron job. And this is the same schedule that we are using in Linux. So first star is for minutes, it's for hours, it's for a date, day of the month. This is for the month of the year, and this is day of the week. So you can look the documentation in Linux, but if you are not familiar, so you can just go to etc cron tab file. It will give you the information of all these 4 stars, and you can schedule your task according to these these values. Uh, then job template. Job template contains specs, template, and container that will perform the job. This container name is here hello. Some image they use a busy box, and image it will pull if it is not present. And the command will be run by this busy box container. And this command is mean date. It will print the date and then echo message. It is printing. It is doing a very simple job. Uh, this is a very simple job, but I will give you the example of practical from the practical life. So this is given here, and furthermore, if you go down, mm, okay. So let's do some practical. So crown jobs. I have this manifest for the crown job, and this cron job is basically having a name MySQL backup. So for suppose you have some MySQL database running in your cluster or anywhere, and you want to make some scheduler that will take the backup of your MySQL database. And it is in the dev namespace. I want to perform this activity at 11 a.m. Fifth minute. So I can change this time, whatever is required. And job template, I am using MySQL image. So why I am using MySQL image, I will explain you. So first of all, to take the backup, I need the database up and running. So to make database up and running, I believe I have some manifest that will run at the MySQL database, but I don't have here. Okay, no problem. Uh, First, I will go to Docker Hub and let me check quickly the MariaDB database I will run. So this MariaDB is you need this environment variable. Okay. So this environment variable will define the root user password for the MySQL database. The environment variable, I will use this environment variable. Okay. So let me create a container. Keep ctl run uh, mariadb pod uh, uh, image mariadb. It will pull from Docker Hub. Spell. Okay. And I want to give the environment variable too. So for the environment variable, I can use like this. So environment variable, the key I want to give my DB root password. And for example, root password is 123 and in the dev namespace hyphen try run, I will save in with name mariadb-pod.yaml. So mariadb-pod.yaml in dev namespace having this environment variable set by the command line and no resource limit I'm doing. Okay, it will run this pod. So ctl apply-f ctl get pod-n dev. It's trying to pull an image -wide. It's running on worker 2. Okay, so this is my pod running. Now I will create, so far this is a stateful application, MariaDB, but just for to understand the concept of scheduler, that I just want to run a simple database. I have not make the persistent volume with this database, but it should be in your practical life. So this was just an example. Some database is running. I will create a database inside it. But when this pod will delete, it will lose its data because I have not created any volume with this one. But because this is not our agenda point, we just need a database to give you the concept how a scheduler can take the backup of your database. So kubectl execute it bash -n dev. So let me get into this pod. So in this pod, MariaDB, I can connect with this way. Password I provided, and so this is just a MariaDB database. So you can do this for MySQL, Postgres, for Microsoft SQL, Oracle, MongoDB, Cassandra, any database. Okay, so it's up to you how much, you can spin up your databases, and we can discuss in our then live sessions about your questions. So there are default databases. So let me create a database. For example, some app1db. Just a sample database I create. I think hyphen is not recommended as a database name. So that's why it's created. Okay. So this is just a database. I'm not going to create any database table, and I'm not going to add any entry. This is just a database. You can restore some sample database, but I just want to focus on the cron job. So what is the situation now? I have a pod that is running the MySQL database, and inside MySQL database, there is a database named app1db. Okay, so now we have this pod. So how can I access this pod? To access this pod, I need a service. kubectl get pod -n dev. I have this pod, kubectl. I will expose this pod, create a service in front of this pod. Type within the cluster I want to access it. So when I want to access it within the cluster, so I will create a cluster IP type service. And port, database port, MySQL port is 3306. Target port is 3306. Within the container and outside the from the service, I can use this port to access this database. And in the dev namespace and press enter, kubectl get svc-dev. So I have this service now. Okay. And this is the service IP. And from any other pod within the same namespace, or even from the different namespace, I can access this MariaDB. Uh, I can access this MariaDB with its service name. This is the service name. Mean it will be reachable like mariadb-pod.dev.svc.cluster.local. We'll discuss this in detail in our service part. So let me just test one thing. How if I want to take a backup, I know I can telnet this service IP 13306 from my master node. Okay, this is reachable. So if I have MySQL utility, I can use MySQL dump. So MySQL, I believe we have MySQL dump. So this is installed on my master node. So any machine, Windows, Linux, a Mac, any machine, any remote machine that has this MySQL dump utility, it can take the backup, but it should be able to reach to that database. So far I am inside my cluster and I can access this MySQL by using this service IP. So what will happen actually when I will spin up this cron job? This cron job will run a container. That container need to access this service to connect the database. So if you don't have MySQL dump utility, you can use apt install MySQL client package. It will provide you these utilities. Okay, MySQL client is already installed. So that's why I have this MySQL dump utility. So MySQL, I'm just testing that backup is working from my command line or not. MySQL dump -u root -p and 123 at the rate abc is a password. This is a syntax that -p and then with parallel you have to provide the password. And the database name I created was this one, and I want to backup it under the temp with same database name. I can add some timestamp like today's backup is 27/6/24 SQL. Not able to connect. Why? Because I have not provided, because by default when you are running MySQL dem command, it is connecting with the local host. So I need to connect with the host with my service IP. This is my service IP. So it is done, but it is prompting that it is not a good idea to directly provide the password in your terminal. If I go under the temp, so backup is done here. This is the backup. So it's basically, this is just an empty database, but the backup is done. Okay. So now the command that I can use is this one. So I will preserve this command in some script. So I will save this whole command to a script. I can say backup mariadb.sh. Okay, at the same location and backup mariadb.sh. So this is the command that can provide me the backup. So why I am making this as a script? I will provide this script inside my container that will run, but that container should have this MySQL dump utility. So we can see any image that is available online, freely available, that is providing us this MySQL dump utility. So it's a shell script. So you know, those on a shell script, we must have to provide the compiler path. So okay, so MySQL dump, and this one I will replace with the name of the service. So let me kubectl get svc hyphen and dev mariadb pod dot dev dot svc dot cluster dot local. So here the host name I am replacing with this one. Why? Because this script will now run within from a container, within from a pod. So pod can make the communication to the service by their name. So we discussed this concept in very detail in the service part. In the dev dot svc dot cluster dot local. This is not mandatory to write this complete domain name. You can only write this service name only. That is enough. But I am writing the complete one. Okay. So, and this is also not a good idea to type here the straightforward password here. We can provide here some variable from the operating system, just like this mean db root pass. And this variable value can come from the secret inside the pod that will take the backup. And now you know how to create a secret. We discussed this in our secret section session very detail. So right now I don't want to make this thing very complex. I am going with 123 at ABC, but in your production environment it should not be like this. It should be some variable, and that variable will provide the this password value, because this script is openly readable by anyone, maybe anyone placed on your master node. So anyone who have access to this script can see the password, or anyone can get into this container can also see the password. So that's why this is not the best practice, but just to give you the idea, I am making it straight, but this is not the best practice. Okay, I am creating this backup, and I will not create under the temp, uh, but I will create inside the container like something like backup, like db backup directory, and inside this db backup directory, and the name of the database, okay, it should be, but the timestamp I need to provide here like a variable. So since you know about the Linux administration, so you know in the date, I can use plus percentage y and m, I think small m or capital M. I can check in the command line, and hyphen percentage d. Let me check this. If I run here, okay, it is giving me small m is your month, and percentage d is your date. You can also add that or minute and second, but think like you are taking only once in a day. Otherwise, if you are taking twice or multiple time in a day, you must have to add the minutes to minutes and hour timestamp to, otherwise your file name will be same, it will be overwritten. So for the minutes, you can add something like, for example, percentage H is R, and you can add up with colon or hyphen, you can use whatever you can use, but percentage capital M or minute. And if I run this, okay, 21 and 14 minute. If I do something like this, it will be more meaningful. So this is the complete timestamp we created with this. So this command we can call as a variable. If I do echo $, and call this, so this is the complete variable. This variable we can provide inside with the name of the backup will be created by this script, and it will create the proper timestamp when it will take the backup under the DB backup directory. So far, I think everything is good for this script. Now we need some image that should be able to write that have this MySQL dump utility only, nothing else. Okay, so for that purpose, what I did, I use in my cron job the image MySQL. So MySQL image is a complete database, but it also contain MySQL dump. We are not going to run a MySQL database, but we are just going to take the leverage of MySQL dump command that is available inside this image. Yeah, I can use MariaDB, but I think in the MariaDB image it will be MariaDB dump something different command. But for MySQL dump I use in my script, so that's why I will use MySQL, and it's not mandatory to use 5.7. You can even use latest. So let me just copy this whole scheduler and all YAML on job mariadb backup.sql. No, sorry, YAML. So okay, this cron job is good. Dev namespace is good. Okay, it will. Now I will explain you what is happening. I am running this command. When I am running this command, it's mean I don't want to run the command that is already available in this image. We discussed this in very detail in our Docker sessions. So I am going to override the command by the command given in this image, and in this image the command is to start the MySQL, but I don't want to start the MySQL service. I want to run this command, and this command is going to invoke under the bin bash on this shell. It will go with -c is the what command you want to run. I want to run this command, and it will be back. It will run backup.sh. Now the question is how the script that I wrote on my Linux machine will reach inside my container. So the answer is by using the volume host volume by using a volume. So I can use the host path volume to mount it, but what I will do in the volume section, you can see here there is a volume named backup script, and it is coming from the config map, and config map will There I will create a config map with name db backup, and the default mod, I mean the whatever file will be provided by the config map, its permission is like this. So let me create this config map. So this db backup config map I have to create. Let me check I have any get config map -n dev. I don't have. Let me delete this one. I think delete config map dpcm. Dev namespace, delete it. Okay, I will create. So my script, where I created this script. This is my backup script. Okay, so I will dump this script directly to my config map. And the etcd database will save this whole config map, and I will map this inside the container, and that when I will map it, it will provide the complete file from the config map. So we did this in the config map section. If you are not familiar with the config map, you can go to the config map videos in the Docker deep dive session. So what I need to do, kubectl create config map, config map name I can say mariadb backup config map. Okay, mariadb backup, no need to say add the -cm in the dev namespace, and help from file. Okay, so I will add from file. The key will be the script.sh. I mean, whatever key I will save, or I can use this file name as a key. Any file, any name I can provide, but that key will be presented as a file name when I will map inside the container. So backup mariadb-sh, and the file path is under the root. It's better to provide the complete path, and in the dev namespace it will create this config map. kubectl get config map -n dev namespace kubectl describe config map hyphen this mariadb backup -n dev. And you can see this file contains this data. So simply I dump into my MySQL in my config map. I can do this also by the host path, but it's very difficult to maintain this script on all master nodes. So it's better idea to dump all your config files, whatever config files or scripts in your config map. So that will be easy to retrieve. Now, what I need to do, the name of this config map is mariadb backup. So I need to modify this cron job, I think. The name of this config map I will provide here. Okay. And the name of this volume is backup script, and this backup script is called here, and it will mount under these scripts with the name. You can see it will try to run this script, but under the scripts directory, but backup.sh. So I need to change with backup mariadb-sh. Because config map will provide the file with this name, not the backup sh. Okay, so this part is done. This container will run. It will try to execute this command. This command is actually execution of the script. This script is coming from this config map. Config map we created and it is mapped. The second thing is, yes, one more thing. We need to look into that this script will throw this backup under the db backup directory and it will be inside the container. So that directory is not available. So we need to create that directory. For that purpose, we can create the NFS based persistent volume inside the container. And in that persistent volume, that backup will be written by this container. And from NFS server, we can retrieve the backup. So this path I will change with db backup. And it is mounting to backup storage, and backup storage definition is a claim. Its name I will do something like NFS DB backup. So I need to create this persistent volume that will be pointing to NFS share. Okay, so DB backup is the path inside our image. Okay, everything is good. So let me check. I can create some PV. First of all, do I have any example of PV here? This PV we created some days ago. Okay. Okay, so first of all, I need to go in my NFS server quickly, and I want to check what type of NFS volumes are exported in my NFS server. This is my NFS server, and in exports file, these we created. I will create a new K8s DB backups. MariaDB is a meaningful MariaDB back. Yes. Okay, and I want to provide the same permissions. I need to create this directory dir and export fs-r from my master node. If I do show mount -e, the IP of my NFS server, so I should be able to, yes, this is reachable to me. It's mean I can use this path. Let me do, first of all, the copy of this persistent volume manifest PV mariadb backup.yaml and PV mariadb backup path I will provide that is reachable from my this NFS server. Name I will say something meaningful NFS mariadb backups. This is the name of the PV persistent volume. Its size should be good enough, whatever backups you want to preserve. For this lab purpose, I will just provision 10 GB. Read write many mean multiple containers can read mount it multiple time, and they can also write it. Okay, this could be a situation. So far I'm giving just the read write many. So and it's a cluster level of resource, so that's why I'm am not providing any namespace. So kubectl apply. kubectl get pv. So this is created. Now I need to create a persistent volume claim. And that persistent volume claim, if I do a cat to ground job, its name will be NFSDB backup. So I believe I have some example of persistent volume claim DB backup. Let me copy this PVC mariadb backup. I am file name was wrong. So no problem. I just create this file and the name must be whatever I defined in my scheduler and in the dev namespace, because this resource claim is a resource of namespace level. Read write many, okay, no problem. Storage class, we have to do about the storage class. So far, we are not using storage class. And the requesting storage, I think, for example, I'm requesting 9 GB. So if the available PV that is not bounded is 10 GB, it will use the 10 GB. So it is just looking for minimum 9 GB of PV freely available, but 9 GB and greater anyone. So I just need to apply this kubectl apply -f kubectl get pvc-n dev namespace. So you can see it is bounded with the persistent volume. It is bounded. It was free last time. Now read write many. And okay, this part is done. It's mean our PVC and PV both are bounded. Now we are in the situation to run this cron job. Our claim is ready. This claim will go to this location, and actually this will be mounted by this PVC, and PVC is pointing to NFS, and this path is declared in this script to write the data. It's mean whatever this script will generate will directly go under the NFS. This container will run for a while to perform this activity, how much time it will take, and then this container will stop. You know, the life cycle of the container we did in very detail in our Docker sessions. So the life of this cron job will retain until this job is running. How much time it's taking to take the backup. Okay, so what other thing I want to change? What is the time right now? It's 9:32. Okay, no problem. I will change the time by editing the manifest directly. So kubectl apply this cron job. kubectl get short is cj-n dev, and suspended last schedule information is not given, and active right now it's not running, and this is active, and it will run at 11:05. So right now the time is 9:33. Okay, so I will set it to 9:35. So how can I do edit cron job -o I will add it, and 9:33 is the time. So I will change this time to 34. It was 33 to 35 I will do, and 9:09. It is AM. My time is 9 AM 33 on the server. So 9:35 I changed. Okay, it should run. What is the time now? 9:34. Okay, so get cron job dev. So far it is not running. So when it will run, it will invoke a pod for a while. You can also get that information by kubectl get pod, but maybe it will run for a second. Depends how much time the job will take. So there is still 15 seconds remaining. So if I ground job, it's not ran, -w I can do. It will update me when it will run. Okay, so the difference is, the issue I found is the time within the container is different. It's 9. Yeah, okay, sorry. This was my bad. I mean, it's PM. So whenever we are writing the ground job hours, it's in 24 hours. Okay. So the 9 mean 9 AM and 9 PM mean 21. So I just ran a temporary container and I just look into the time inside the container. It's different. So it is good, but on my host machine, it's in PM. I have not noticed this PM. I was just looking 09. So that's why I thought this is AM. So the only mistake I'm doing was I need to add it, and it's not 9, it's 21, and it's 40. I can set to 46. It's 45 right now. 46 is done. I will do 47. 46 now. So get ground job 47. W space. Now I will do -w. So let's see within. It will run, it will update here. Okay, this is ran now. Okay, so the mistake was the wrong time I was specifying. So it ran and it will produce some output. I think I can do the describe and successfully created job was created and the job is completed. So without any error, this container created and it ran and it performed its activity and how much time it took 22 seconds. So let me go to my this. Yes, this backup is created. Okay. So whenever it will run, it will create the backup. So now backup is reached to my NFS server by persistent volume. So this was about the cron job we did. So in next session, I will show you how to upgrade the cluster variant.